Computer. All right. Looks like we are.
Marianne just came on.
Yeah, Marianne's here. She says her audio is out, so Marianne will not be talking.
Oh.
I am going to put everybody else on mute except for Lauren.
Okay.
Also for now, and then later I can do that. So let's see. Mute. Okay. So, welcome to our call. It's been a while since we've had one. I've been moving, so it's been kind of hectic. Still, everything's not done in the house, but it's getting there. Went from a really small place to 4 stories, so going up and down stairs has been challenging. So I wanted to say thank you for everybody that's on here tonight. We have a very special guest. Her name is Lauren Love. She was recommended to me by, I don't know, some of you should know, some of you might not know, Mindy Hort. I love her. She's amazing. But she highly recommended Lauren, so I wrote her, I think at the beginning of the month, and asked her if she would like to be on one of our calls. And she said yes, and we picked a date, and here we are today. So a little bit about Lauren. I have her little bio here, so I'm just going to read it. She's a spiritual life and business coach, and she teaches women how to remove blocks and receive money breakthroughs. She has spent the last 7 years coaching hundreds of women to break into new levels of financial abundance through online programs, courses, one-on-one coaching programs. She combines strategies of science of success, strategies with spiritual fulfillment, and practices to create a powerhouse in businesses for women. So I'm sure also if you guys have any more questions for her at the end, we'll do like a Q&A. But her and I spoke a little bit about some of things that have been going on in the team and what I see that happens throughout the month. So she's here to give us some motivation and coach and be an inspiration to us. So go ahead, Lauren.
Hey, well, first, Morgan, thank you so much for having me. I am so excited. Absolutely love your vibe, and I love the energy that I can tell just from you engaging with Nadia that it brings forth in your community. I think it's really important to have that. So for all of you ladies listening who heard a little bit about me, just to take it a step further, my backstory is that I had a very shitty up and down roller coaster life. That was kind of my narrative. Like lots of trauma, lots of baggage, everything from homelessness to drug addiction to eating disorder. I mean, I had these heavy things that had happened to me in my life, and I reached this breaking point where I realized, well, I went through all of that for a reason, right? I went through all of it so I could help change other people's lives, right? Not so that I could just overcome it and then say, okay, now what, right? So I decided I was going to make it my mission to become a life coach. And in an industry where everybody and their mother is a life coach, it's something that people always say is really hard to do, right? Like, don't quit your job to just try to run a business online. Are you crazy? Like, you can't do that. Bull fucking shit, you can't, because I did it. And once I did it and I created a successful 6-figure business as a life coach, people were coming up to me and saying, well, I want to do that too. Why is it so hard for me to make money in my network marketing business? Why is it so hard for me as a health and wellness coach to be attracting my clients? And why is it so easy for you when you didn't have that platform? Teach me what you're doing. So I said, okay. So transferring all of my life coaching skills and practices into business coaching is where I am now. So I take women just like you guys who are struggling in your businesses, and I teach you how to fix them. So that's kind of why we're here today. I'm going to tell you one of the things that I love about Morgan that she's so open with: spiritual practice. Boom, right in front of my face. And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't have a spiritual practice somehow incorporated in the business that you are doing today, you are going to crack. It is really important that you can spiritually align with what you're doing, because if you're not, it's going to feel inauthentic. It's going to create disconnect, and you're going to struggle. And that's nothing that anybody should ever have to go through or deal with. So that's just a side note. That's something that I feel really important and called to just mention. But I think one of the biggest issues that I've seen in network marketing coaching is that everybody's doing it like everybody else is telling them to do. These kind of copy and paste messages, these kind of cold calling reach outs, sharing pictures of your shake, sharing pictures of your workout. And those things are fantastic and amazing to do when they work. But when they don't work, you have to strategize and take things to the next level. So I think I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about some of like what I think are the biggest pain points in health and wellness network marketing. And the first one is that you guys find you're doing everything right, but you're not getting the results, right? So as we go through this training, can you just let's engage with the chat and just make sure that I'm on the same page with you guys. So who here feels like they're doing everything they're supposed to do and they're not getting the results? I do at times, yeah. Yeah, I want to make sure that I know some of you guys I think are actually on phone, so and now that I'm thinking of this, I'm not too sure if this is going to work. Because I don't think you can engage with, yeah. So Morgan's going to be a gorgeous voice for me because she knows you ladies. So one of the biggest issues I think is dealing with rejection, right? It's like understanding when somebody says no to you, why are they saying no? And also this crap about like reach out to 10 people, get 9 no's and 1 yes. I'm going to tell you that if that's what you're doing, that's exhausting. You should put yourself in a position where you're getting 9 yeses and maybe 1 no, and it's possible. You have to learn the art of enrolling. So if you're struggling with understanding why people are saying no to you and you're struggling with dealing with the rejection when somebody says no to you, there are a couple of things you can do to fix that issue. And I think one of the biggest things is changing the way that you're engaging with the potential client. So I have a little fly in my room here. I would love if one of you guys can unmute yourselves and engage with me on the step-by-step process of like who here on this call is feeling like shit. Every time I get somebody, they're always telling me no, and I'm sick of hearing no. Connie.
I just unmuted everybody.
Yeah, so Connie says Marianne says all the time. Yeah, so Marianne, tell me what's going on.
I'm not sure if her
Oh, her audio is out. That's right. Okay, so Connie.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, girl. What's going on?
Nothing. Listen to me. I'm actually sitting in my office working at the same time I'm doing this. So I'm multitasking.
Oh no.
Which
Am
is
I gonna get in trouble?
No. There's nobody here. This is my hell that I'm living in right now. So let me say, okay, so you want me to engage with you. Okay, so
engage with me,
girlfriend, let me tell you about this awesome thing I'm doing. And Morgan's laughing right now because she knows that's how I talk, right?
Yeah.
So so I hate being put on the spot. So yeah, well, typically what people are doing now is they're asking me what I'm doing, right? Because I just did the classic at Summit and I lost a bunch of weight and I competed. So people are asking, my God, how'd you lose all that weight? What are you doing? And I'll say, I'm working out at home. I work out in my living room. I drink a shake every day and I eat properly. And then we start getting in the conversation. I think what I do is I let them lead the conversation instead of me leading the conversation. And
why? Okay, so let me ask you, why do you think that? Like, where did that come from? Is that because you're doing most of the talking, or is there?
Yes. Yes. See, I'm doing most of the talking. Yes, I do. I tend to talk too much, so I think I don't stop and listen long enough to ask the questions and I need to ask.
Okay. So when you're talking to them after they say, hey, what are you doing? You look amazing. And you basically tell them everything that you're doing. And then
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't usually throw the word Beachbody out
Okay.
at the time. I explain to them that I work out in the comfort of my house. I eat healthy meals. I drink a shake. And then I think where I get stuck is I'm waiting for them to ask me questions, and they're not going to ask me questions.
Okay. So this is beautiful, Connie. Thank you so much for sharing. Does this, guys, let me know if this sounds similar to you guys, where you're getting people who reach out to you and then you're kind of like, well, I don't really know how to steer this conversation. I'm going to tell you to thank you so much for sharing your heart with me. I think this is really just a beautiful example of what a lot of people go through, where there is a select group of people out there who want what you have to offer, but you don't know how to offer it to them. So let me explain some things to you. When they polled millionaires of really successful businesses and they said, hey, what is the number one skill set you guys had that actually made you a millionaire? It had nothing to do with the product they offered, nothing to do with their coaching. It had nothing to do with any of that. It actually had to do with the art of enrolling. So the art of enrolling is going to be the biggest thing that's going to stand in the way or create the multi-six-figure business or the seven-figure business, because you have to understand how to hook that client, and it's an art form. So there is a big struggle with enrolling out there, especially in the Beachbody market, because people feel like selling is sleazy. They don't want to bring up the name. They don't know how to have a conversation in a way that feels authentic to them, because they're doing what everybody else is telling them to do, or they don't know what to do. So this is kind of like what Connie's saying, where she's like, well, I have all these people who are asking me what I'm doing and they want to know, but I don't know how to steer them into asking questions, because then they go cold. So this is something I teach in a program called Badass Sales, and I'll walk you guys through some of these steps today because I think it will create massive change in your business. So the first thing is that anybody who reaches out to you guys has a problem that they need to solve. Okay? You guys know this. They have a problem that they need to solve, and they're the old version of you. So Connie, when people reach out to you and they're struggling, do they ever open up about what they're going through or what their issues are?
Yes.
They do. And
yes.
and then where do you go in the conversation?
I'm just trying to think of a real life scenario.
Sure.
There's a perfect example of somebody in my office just recently who was stressed out, overweight, super excited that I was doing my competition, watching me eat healthy. Oh my God, I can't do that. I can't stand when people try, my husband's story is trying to tell me what to do. I need to do this on my terms. So, I guess I don't go in for the kill right away. And I, built the trust with her and said, this is how I'm doing it. And I totally understand, girlfriend. I totally understand, because I do the same thing. I push my husband away when he tries to shove a diet down my throat. It pisses me off. I do the opposite. It's got to be on my terms. So I try to relate to them and try to get them to understand that I feel the same way. The feel, felt, found. What do you call it? Feel.
Yeah. Feel, felt, found.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So I try to do that. But I think it still comes down to the hook, the sale, the whatever you want to call that. At the end of the day, it's still a sale. It's still selling a product. So that's where I get stuck, because then I walk away from that conversation thinking, oh man, I should have said this or I should have said that, and I didn't.
Well, first of all, I can just tell that you have a very big heart for helping people, because the fact that you feel uncomfortable with that sale leads me to believe that you actually genuinely just want to help somebody and you don't want to feel like an icky salesman. So let me tell you guys first, Connie's doing a lot of things right. She's holding space for the client. She's listening to their struggles and really understanding what they're going through. And then she kind of falls off the wagon. So there's actually a process that I walk through on every single call I have. I have a 90% enrollment rate. So what that means is when 10 people get on a call with me, 9 are going to hook. 9 are going to end up buying something. And you guys can all do this too. So whenever I have somebody who's interested in something I have to offer, they either message me, they comment to me, they reach out in some way, shape, or form, and they say, oh my God, what you're doing is amazing. I want to know how you did it. Teach me. I go, I would totally love to teach you everything that I know. Let's have a phone call so we can talk about what you're really going through so I can help you the best way I know how. So this is a big this is like a big mistake that I think a lot of people make now in the Beachbody market. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you could just Facebook message and have a conversation all day on Facebook and enroll people really, really quickly. And maybe you can do that now still, but if you're on this call, it leads me to believe that you're still struggling to get those people, right? So you want to be able to take them off of the Facebook platform and into a professional setting. You are a coach. You are not just selling a product. You are literally transforming somebody on an emotional and spiritual level too. So you have to give them an opportunity to really engage with you and talk about like, okay, well, what is going on in their life? So I always I give them a schedule that I have on Calendly. You can offer them a couple of different times or whatever. But have them on a phone call because it's going to do two things. It's going to make them feel valuable, and it's going to allow their voice to be heard, and it's also going to have them see you as a professional. Oh my God, this woman's taking time out of her day to really help me. Holy crap. Holy crap, I really want this. And she's going to start getting her wheels turning about what she really wants in her life. When you get on that call, what you really need to do, and it's funny that Connie's like, yeah, I kind of talk too much. You have to lead the conversation, but you have to do it in a way where the person is spending most of the time talking, not you. On my sales calls, they usually run half an hour. I spend probably the last 5 to 10 minutes actually talking about the product. The rest of the conversation is about them. So when I get on the call, there are these steps that I follow. I break them down. The first one is I listen. So I get on the call and I say, hey, so listen, this is your half an hour call with me. I am so honored to be here. I'm so honored to help you. Tell me what's going on. And they're going to tell you their story, and they're going to say things that remind you of your old self, right? Well, I can't, for some reason, I can't stop binge eating, and I know I have to make a change, or I don't have the time to work out, and I've gained 40 pounds in the last 3 years, whatever it is. They're going to really drop into their narrative there. And you want to listen, and you want to take notes, and you want to really pay attention to what it is they're feeling. So they're in that conversation, in that first 5 minutes, they're going to tell you what they want. And then as the coach, you have to ask them, well, why do you want it? Why do you want it right now? And that's usually the part of the call where they start to cry, right? And they say, oh my God, I've been doing this forever, and I've been trying to do it on my own forever, and I can't get the results I want. And I'm going to be 40 next year, and I have my 2 kids, and I can't play with my kids anymore. They're going to really open up to you if you allow your heart to be received by them on that call. Okay, there's a really deep spiritual connection that you can make with these people when you're on the phone call. They're going to tell you what they want. They're going to tell you why they want it. And then you're going to ask them, well, what have you tried in the past that hasn't worked? Now, at this point, guys, no Beachbody talk, no talk about you, no talk about the product. This is all about the client. They feel, you have to remember where you were maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, or whenever you were overweight and struggling or feeling unhealthy, you are lost for a solution, and so are these people. And so you want to do them a good job of letting their voices be heard and just holding space for them. So they'll tell you what has not worked for them. Now, Connie, this is a great example just to compare with Connie. When people ask her, what are you doing? If she says, I'm working out from home, if client A that I'm on the phone with hates working out from home, hey, I just lost that sale. I'm screwed, right? Right. I can't help that person anymore. So that's why I don't tell people right away what I'm doing, because I want to understand the client first. So when you ask them what has worked in the past, what have you tried in the past that hasn't worked, they might say things like, oh, I did Weight Watchers and I hate counting points, or oh, I did Nutrisystem and I hated getting food delivered. And they're going to give you all these lists of things that they tried, and then you're going to know what you have and why it's perfect for them. And then in that conversation, you can turn it to say, okay, so based on the fact that you really want more energy to play with your kids, you want more wellness so you can live happy past the age of 40, and whatever the third thing is, I have a really great program that I think would be perfect for you. Would you like to hear about it? And they're going to go, yeah, that's why I'm on this call. Like, where have you been for the last 20 minutes? No, they're going to be really excited to hear about it. And then that's the point where you can say, I run a program, you know, people I think make the mistakes of like, hey, it's Beachbody, it's awesome, come join us. You could say, no, I run a program where I train my girls who work with me on how to eat healthy in a way that they don't have to count points or calories. I give them recipes that are easy to follow. You have the accountability with me every step of the way. You have workouts that are accessible from your phone that you can do anywhere. Boom. And then they'll probably go, how much is it? Right? Like, how many of you guys get tripped up on the cost when cost is an issue? Yeah. Yeah. So this is my response to that. It's never about the money. It's never about the money. It's either one of two things. Either they don't think it's going to work or they don't think they're going to do the work.
That's usually what it is.
That's always what it is. Yeah. Either they don't think it's going to work or they don't think they're going to do the work. And you shouldn't be afraid to call them out on it too, because part of people, I think the biggest mistake I see is that when people get on those calls and they hear, oh, I don't have the money, they go, okay, bye. Like, maybe another time, bye.
That's what I do.
That's what you do? Like,
Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for talking, goodbye. Like, because you feel guilty.
Well, yeah, and like some of them are like, oh, I didn't pay my electricity bill this month.
That's bullshit. They didn't pay their electricity bill because they don't want to. Like, it's really, I understand. I have to tell you, this is the God's honest truth. Like, I've been homeless. Like, I understand this. So when you have a financial struggle yourself, it's really easy for you to see like, okay, I was homeless. I still had a pack of cigarettes in my pocket every fucking day. You know what I mean? So you have to really, it's priorities. It's really understanding that. The electricity bill. Oh my gosh. When I get people like this, I'm like, okay, they have some real issues, and it's not just about the food. It's now manifesting in their life elsewhere with money. So money, food, and relationship love, right? These are like power tools that if you have a bad relationship with food, you might have a bad relationship with money. If you have a bad relationship with money, you probably have unhealthy relationships with people. Like, they kind of all go together. You know what I mean? So when you hear things like this with the money, it's your opportunity to actually coach the person through having a breakthrough. When people don't take responsibility for their well-being in ways like not paying certain bills, it's no wonder that they're struggling with their relationship with food. So you want to be able to stand for them. Like, you don't want to dismiss what they're saying. It's really easy for them to use that as an excuse to run away from a problem that they have. You know what I mean? So when a client tells me that they don't have the money for something, I say, that's usually the part of the call where I drop out of my head and I go into my heart. And I say, listen, I totally understand. I totally get how you feel, right? Yeah. And then I usually follow it up with a story, because people want to understand that, like, you've been where they've been. You know, my story is when I hired my own life coach, who was $10,000, by the way. I had $200 in my bank account and $65,000 in credit card debt already, and I made it happen. So, you know, think to yourself, you guys all have a story. What was the story where you had no money and you made it happen? Listen, I totally understand how you feel. When I was on my health and wellness journey, and I was also struggling financially, and I for some reason, I would work every week and all of the money would be gone out of my bank, and I wouldn't prioritize myself. And I'm going to tell you, it's never really about the money. And you're probably avoiding something at a deeper level. What's going on? What are you feeling right now? What's coming up for you? You know, that's a great way to phrase it that will allow the person to kind of open the doors and say, yeah, you know what, you're right. I am fucking avoiding myself. I am like making excuses for this. I've been doing this for years. And they're going to realize that they want it and they're going to make it happen. I love your bracelet, by the way, Nadia.
Thanks.
It's gorgeous. So does this make sense to you guys?
Yes.
Who has questions about this? Or who has specific conversations that they can remember in their brain, who needs help working through them? What did Morgan say?
I was telling that Connie, there's a really good book called The Curious Mind, which my coach actually told me to read.
Yeah.
It's a great book. It kind of teaches you how to ask questions to get a conversation going. So if you have problems with that, you know, you ask questions or you're not asking the right questions, that personal development book really helped me when I talk to people of having to ask things in a different way to actually get a conversation going, instead of like asking how your day went. And then, you know, they say, oh, fine. You know, did you do anything interesting? No. You have to reword it to them where they actually have to make a full sentence to make, you know, answer you back. So that book is really awesome. I can't remember the author off the top of my head, but it's called The Curious Mind. It's really good. I actually have the CD and it's in my car and it plays like anytime I get in the car. So it reminds me of certain things. In fact, there's nothing else to listen to, I'll listen to it over again. But that really helps a lot. And also how you said to get on the phone. I've had way better like success when I actually talk to people. Nadia and I actually had lunch before she signed up. And,
I thought about that.
Yeah, we actually, like, you know, I had been talking to her for a while, and her and actually, like, we actually met and had lunch, and I went through everything with her. And I think when you have an actual, like, personal conversation face-to-face or on the phone with someone, it makes it a lot easier for them to trust you. So I totally agree with getting on the phone with people or meeting them for lunch or coffee. I know Marianne does that a lot. But I just think it makes the person feel better when you do that than talking to them on the computer or at work. Like, say if someone comes up to you at work and talks to you saying, hey, you know, we're at work, we're busy, let's try to get coffee over the weekend.
Yes.
We have a conversation where we're not busy and we're not thinking about work. I think that helps a lot better than.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if you really think about it, just speaking as somebody, like, I've struggled with food for quite a while in my life. And when you have a really unhealthy relationship with food to the point where you're overweight, you have an avoidance issue, right? Like, how many people who are overweight don't look at themselves when they get dressed in the mirror? And they don't look at their bodies when they're naked. They're avoiding a problem, right? Because it's painful. So by you casually trying to solve that problem for them or help them, that's not going to do much because they're really good at avoiding. They do it every day in their lives. So honoring that person enough to be able to say, I believe in you, so much so that we're going to have a separate conversation about this and we're going to hold space for that and make it a dedicated moment, will make a huge difference in the success rate of your own business. So, so let's talk a little bit, something that's coming up for me that I just feel really called to mention with you guys is money blocks. Like, how many of you guys are struggling to make the money that you really want to make right now in your business? Okay. And Connie mentioned this too, where she was like, this is my hell because she's at work, right? Like, how many of you guys are trying to make enough so that you can quit your job?
Oh, that is my story.
Me.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this. How long, Nadia, have you been struggling to make this happen? By the way, you look and sound exactly like that actress who's gorgeous with like that red hair and the
Emma Stone.
Yes.
Oh, I get it all the time. Oh, thank you.
I love it. I love it so much. It's making me so happy because she's like my spirit animal. I love her. Yeah. How long have you been struggling with this?
Well, I have to say I'm definitely not as far as along as the other girls because I've been still struggling in, like you say, coming out of my old self. But Morgan has been, and I think that's really what I can attest to. is that there's a personal, for me, a very personal stake in this Beachbody. Morgan inspires me, not just with Beachbody, but because she's doing something that I actually really want to get into. And it's taken me I've had some bumps on the road. I've had a really hard year. My father was ill, but she had a very similar situation too with her own father. And there's so much connection, and also there's so much, encouragement. And I really appreciate it. Sometimes I feel like a slow learner, but I know when I'm committed to something. So my problem is, I think, more so maybe where I'm looking for clients, because I started looking at my own students, because I talk to my own students all the time. They know me very well. And they're adults. Don't worry, they're not kids. They're adults.
Yeah, what do you do that you're a teacher?
I'm an English professor.
Okay.
So don't worry, I'm not signing up minors. But the problem is that, and it's almost weird because there is kind of like that downtrodden culture at my school. Sometimes my students have a habit of making a lot of excuses for themselves, and then they also struggle a lot. They're students and they're going to school, but that's kind of like the two people that I spoke to. One of them just never even got back to me, and then one of them was just like basically like, oh, like I'm struggling so much, I can't even pay my light bill, and I feel like in a way, I almost kind of feel like I have to maybe, instead of maybe talking to my students, maybe talk to my coworkers, or also just try to create a new network outside of my whole work. So that way, I can just kind of maybe start fresh with, some people that I'm not already so involved with.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So this is interesting because there's, especially with network marketing, there's this really big, I see that there's this big divide between people, where there's a group of people who get into network marketing and they say to themselves, let me get every friend that I know and every friend's mom that I know to join this so that I can grow. And then there's the other person who says, I don't want to do that, so let me avoid every family and friend member that I have,
right,
so that I don't do that, right? Which one are you falling into in those categories?
I guess maybe not, probably staying too close to home. Like, that's how I always am with everything. Like, not being quick enough or willing enough or consistent enough with putting myself out there.
Yeah. So, okay. So there's a couple of things with this. I think that intuition really needs to be the leading source of inspiration for your business. So one of the things that I really love to do, I can show you guys, I have, as I run programs, I keep a list of everybody who I'm holding space for. And I don't just write random names on here. Like, I pick people who I thought about, who I think would be perfect fits for my program, or I think about the person who messaged me who I could tell really needs it, and I write their name on a list. And as they go, as I have conversations with them, I highlight them off. And this is my way of spiritually holding space for these people. So not to get all woo-woo on you guys. How many here are woo-woo? Because I don't want to like freak anybody out. Totally cool? No?
Don't worry.
I really take moments every day to like look at that list and send that person love when I think about them. And I sit there and say, okay, this person, I know they need my help. Let me send them some love. Let me just really hold space for them, because I know they're going to come into my program and I know I can help them. And it's not about the money in that moment, right? Like, it's really about just actually helping that person. So your head is going into shoulds. Your head is going into like, what should I be doing? How should I be marketing myself? How should I reach out to people? You have to disconnect from that, because that's going to keep you foggy and keep you spinning your wheels for quite a while. And you need to go into the space of like, who is my soul calling to help right now? And just start there. And when
it's funny because I saw a coworker today, and he's it's amazing. I just noticed he gained a lot of weight suddenly. Like, you can tell, when you've seen a person for a couple years. And it's because he recently found out he's becoming a father. So, and I don't know if there's like issues or whatnot, but It almost seemed like it happened kind of fast.
It's always shocking to me when men emotionally eat, because I don't know, I thought that was like a girl thing, so I'm always kind of like, wow, like, no, this is really a serious issue. So here, boom, beautiful, brilliant, you've had this moment, it happened. That's the universe sending you a little whisper and being like, hey, by the way, like, go help this person. You need to honor that, and you need to follow through, and you need to think about that guy and deeply connecting with him. And that's when you're going to make beautiful sales and growth in your business. I guarantee Morgan can probably relate to why she connected with you, or why it's very much like you talk about that. You have a connection with her, right? Mm-hmm. She nurtured the relationship with you, and it's going forward, especially in the beginning, you want to authentically grow your business. There are marketing strategies we could totally dive into, like, how to share on Facebook and how to post stuff the right way. But I think the really big solution to creating a sustainable 6-figure business is to do it in a way that's authentic, and also understanding and knowing your message. Morgan is like a beautiful brand. She's gorgeous. She's such a brand. There are so many people out there who I get on their Instagram or I get on their Facebook, and I want to stalk the shit out of them because they're so unique and so special and have these personalities that are just so prevalent. And you don't need crazy colored hair and tattoos to do that. You guys can do that all on your own.
Everyone's personality that I have in my team, they're all different. They all shine in different ways. They just have to find a way to express it.
Own it. Yeah, this is the thing. Like Mindy, I don't know if you guys do know Mindy, but I remember when she and I connected, and I looked at her stuff, and I'm like, what does this girl represent? Like, what is she? Like, I couldn't even see Beachbody on any of her stuff. I was like, who is this? What is she doing? She's so cool. Who is she? I want to know more. And I stalked her, and then I found out. So your brand isn't about owning the Beachbody brand. It's about owning your own brand. Like who you are and what you represent. I always kind of like to do an exercise where draw yourself. You have like a stick figure, okay? And you have like 4 big bubbles around that stick figure. And those are like the 4 things that represent you. What is it? Is it self-care? Is it, do you really love working out? Is that a component of you? It doesn't all have to be Beachbody stuff. Because the person who hooks into you and decides to buy your product and decides to work with you in the online space is doing it for a much more deeper reason. It's not about the product. You could be selling poop on the street. They would want to work with you because it's you that they're trying to work with. It's the energy connection of working with you. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool. Questions?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's fixed.
Look, we match.
Oh, okay. So anyways, I've been doing this for over a year now. And I don't want to say that I've tried everything, because I don't want to be one of those people that says you tried everything. And it's like when you get down to it, how many things have you actually tried? But I kind of feel like I have in a way. I do so much PD that I've sacrificed listening to my music in the car. I do it to and from work every single day. I even have a personal development group where whatever I'm listening to, as soon as I arrive at work, I post it on that group. So I'm like, this is what I'm listening to today.
Wow.
So, but, I have a bunch of different groups going on. I have a success partner. I've gotten so far out of my comfort zone that I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and inviting, because it's like, at first I kind of went a little bit crazy and like friend requesting 50 people a day, and I never, I got away with that. I didn't get kicked out, but I don't do that every day anymore. I do about 5 a day. And, I'm a little bit more deliberate in who I choose and who I speak to. I do a little bit more research by going to their page and seeing what they're about to see if I can connect with them. And, sometimes I get stumped on, all right, how am I gonna go about messaging them out of the blue. Even if they've accepted my friend's request, how am I going to go about messaging them? And because it's like, they don't know me from Adam, and so I try to start going to their page and liking their stuff and commenting on their stuff so that I show up in their feed and maybe we can interact that way first. So I've gotten a little bit more deliberate about how I do things. But then I've gotten exasperated because I've gotten nowhere.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, so in the process of doing all this, how many people usually do you find are reaching out to you naturally rather than you having to go reach out to them?
0.
Okay, so that's the problem. The problem isn't how do I engage with total strangers that haven't reached out. It's how do I actually get people to connect with me? If you're doing it the right way, in a way that feels and I want to be clear, guys, sales should never feel icky. It should never feel stressful. It should never feel out of alignment with who you are. And if it does, you're doing it wrong. That's the truth. So in this case, you're feeling like you're spinning your wheels because the problem you're trying to solve is to correct the first problem, which is why isn't anybody reaching out to me? And there's I would love for you to, after our call, to send me your Facebook so I can look at it and just get a better understanding of like how you're showing up on your platform. It's really important that you guys consistently show up in your platform as a leader who represents what are those in those 4 bubbles around you. So I know you said you're sharing in groups and you're sharing the personal development thing that you're reading or that you're listening to in the car every day, but do you find yourself showing up authentically on your platform every single day in a way that's clear about your brand?
That's a good question.
Do you know what your brand is?
I have a page where I've been boosting my ads.
All right. Yeah, none of that crap. Like you as yourself, as your soul. Like do you know what your brand is?
Kicking and screaming. Because that's kind of been my journey, is kicking and screaming.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So I did find that. I actually found that by doing the 7 levels deep practice. That's
gorgeous.
How I found that.
What you want to do because the Facebook platform is so saturated, you do want to get really clear about the problem that you solve for people the minute they jump on your platform. So the exercise that's really great is I help people with X do A, B, and C. So what I mean is like, hi, my name is Lauren. I'm a business coach, sure, is the vanilla answer. But the specific answer is, hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a business coach who teaches entrepreneurs how to make bank in their business. Really simple. So, hi, I'm Morgan. I'm a health and wellness coach who teaches blank how to blank. And getting really specific about the message is the best thing that you can do because it's going to actually attract more people into your business. There's this common misconception where it's like, I don't want to get too specific, like helping men or women. I kind of help both. They're like obese women or women who struggle with their adrenal fatigue or women who struggle with their hormones or whatever it is. Like you got to get specific. Because if you're showing up vanilla as a Beachbody coach, that's why you're spinning your wheels, because you're not getting specific about your brand identity and what you do to serve other people. And it's not about the product, it's about you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I actually took off the independent Beachbody coach thing off my pages. Cool. I took that off and I put it as kicking and screaming fitness. Yeah. But I do have to get more specific about what I do because I relate to people with social anxiety because that's what I have. And I relate to people that have had food anxiety because I used to be a problem child with food. I used to be force fed. So
that's what you need. That's brilliant.
That's what I'm starting to find out about myself and that I can connect with people that have that issue because I found a way out.
Yeah. So really what's coming up for me is that you help people who hate the conditions of like group fitness or like, public gym workouts or people who struggle with really wanting to do these things for their body. Like you teach those people how to actually create the life that they want without doing all the things that they hate. You know what I mean? Like the kicking and screening component is so rich. And if you sit down and you really dive into that, you can create a very clear brand on it that would attract so many people into your business because it's unique. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The other part of that too, Marianne, is that once you understand that and getting clear, have you guys ever done ideal client exercises?
I've done a little bit of it with like other coaches, like where you like you write down what your ideal client would be, or an avatar, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to start taking some time to really reflect on who this ideal client is. She's shy. She hates going to the gym. She's struggling to feel confident in her body. Like, what areas of her life is she still struggling with? Does she not date because she's insecure about her body? Does she not have the job that she really wants because she's afraid of going after the promotion? You know, taking a minute to really look at how your ideal client has this expansive set of issues, all as the source of what you can offer to fix. You know?
I don't know if any of you follow Bonnie Engel, but she has a lot of trainings on that, on how, like, she calls it like an avatar. Like, you write down like who would be your, you know, who you want to help. Like all the issues. She's this age. She doesn't have any kids. She's a fur mom, something like that. And that, I mean, she's gone through that a lot. So if you do follow her, she does have exercises on that on YouTube and how to do that. I know some of you do follow her.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that you should always be doing. If you're going to, you know, one thing I always say, like if you're ready to treat your business like a business, if you want to make money as a business, you need to treat it like a business. Like you need to hire a coach. You need to study strategies. You need to set goals every single month. You should be really analyzing and reflecting on your income and seeing how it's coming in and what strategies work. You know, if you go on I'm going to put this in the link. If you go on badassbusinessbabe.com, badassbusinessbabe.com, there's a free goal setting giveaway on the top of that website. And on that website, you can opt in for it. It's free. And every month it's this beautiful worksheet that you could print out, and it says, I'm going to reach out to these 3 people this month. I have these 3 goals for my business. This is the mantra that I'm going to focus on this month. And it allows you to claim the progress of your business. All of you guys, if you're really serious about growing this, should be living in the stretch. You should be living in the opportunity of pushing things to the next level. And that only happens when you keep really reflecting on where you are versus where you want to be, like the constant gap and pushing yourself to reach that goal. Right? So how much money do we all want to make? Let's put it in the comments. You can do it per month. Own the number. It's very important. Are you guys all deeply thinking about the amount of money that you want to make?
Yes.
Is that what's going on here? See, this is the problem. You guys haven't even thought about this well enough. That's why. 5,000 a month. Gorgeous.
I am on my cell phone, so I'm struggling to find the text again. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mine is starting 100,000 a year. So
Okay.
whatever that divides into for 12 months.
Okay. I put it in the comments for you so we can own it.
Perfect.
1,300 a week. That's gorgeous. Yeah. So, okay. So here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. Everybody who put something in the comments, are you making any money right now as a Beachbody coach? Yeah.
Me, I am.
Yeah.
$40 this month.
Good. Teresa?
Marianne.
I don't remember how much I made this month, but very little.
Okay. But you're making money.
A little.
Yeah. But you're making money. So here's the problem. The only reason that you guys haven't figured out how to do this is because you just aren't treating your money like it's a beautiful thing that you're receiving. It's like a not enough thing, right? Like I just made a little bit, $40, $100, like no big deal, like whatever. It's really simple. You guys just don't know how to make this money. And once you figure it out, it's really easy. And you could double it and triple it and quadruple it. But there's something that always stops you from making sustainable income. Like that's the real push everyone tries to break into, is taking any money that they're making, which is incredible. You're making money, right? You're receiving right now. That's an incredible accomplishment. But the real struggle people have is learning how to take what they're receiving and turn it into something that is actually allowing them to create freedom in their life or break through to new levels, or like the financial independence number, right? The freedom number. This is the freedom number you guys all wrote down, because that's going to create more opportunity for you guys. The thing that's stopping you is what you believe about business. So if you guys are here struggling to get into those numbers, what that tells me is that money has always been a sore subject or an icky subject for you, or a struggle in some way, shape, or form in your life. Beachbody is not the first time that this has happened. It's been a repeated thing. So when people come to me and they're like, well, I'm struggling to grow money in my network marketing business, my response in my brain is, you've probably always struggled with money, or you've had an unhealthy relationship with money before. So it's not the Beachbody shit, it's the other stuff. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Would you guys agree, or do any of you disagree?
I totally agree.
Cool. Love being
right. And I can tell you right now that I have a corporate job that pays almost $100,000 a year. So I make very good money. And because I make really good money, even though I'm miserable, I'm not miserable enough. And so when you have the comfort of making that kind of money and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, even though you want something like Beachbody income, it's a struggle to say, you know what, time, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there's definitely an issue with making more and more and more money, right? Because you tend to spend more and more money, and that may just be financial burden, like you said, right?
Yeah. Yes, money is an amplifier. So if you have problems in your life right now, when you make more money, you will just have bigger problems. That's the truth. When I started making money, I had to completely change my relationship with it. I had to love it. I had to act like it was always accessible to me. I had to nurture it. I had to celebrate it. I had to give it, and I had to really do all these new things that I had never been used to doing, because I wanted to rewrite the narrative with money. You need to do that. And 90% of what you guys know about money, I'm going to tell you, it's not your fault. 90% of what you know, you learned between the ages of 2 and 12. So when you think back to how you grew up, mom and dad, and what you saw around money is why you are where you are right now in your Beachbody business. And if you want to break into new numbers, you need to heal that stuff. So this is like the foundation of what I teach, because many people think, well, it's just the marketing strategy, or it's just learning how to sell. And like, yeah, okay, great. I could teach you all that stuff. That's fine. But if you have spiritual money blocks, if you have an unhealthy relationship with money, it's very much like what Connie's saying. Connie's making $100,000 a year and she's living paycheck to paycheck because she's living outside of her means, because she's unfulfilled in her life, and she's spending more so that she can feel more fulfilled, and she's not feeling fulfilled, and it's an endless cycle of chaos, right? So it's the same thing. Like, you guys are chasing, when you want to start making money in your business, you need to just hold the brakes for like significance and feeling valuable and significant in the world, and showing up to heal your relationship with money and to start serving people who you help and work with.
And Lauren, so probably to add to that, one of the things that, first of all, the first thing you said was the relationship with money from a childhood. I can remember to this day where I was, exactly the moment when my father said, and I was a little girl, I was very young, I was probably 6 or 7, when my father said to my mom and I, we can go to Sears shopping, I just paid the credit card payment. And that has stuck in my mind for my entire life. The fact that you got credit and you maxed the credit, then you made a payment and then you could shop, and you made a payment and then you could shop. So it was constantly living beyond my means. Now, my parents always had AAA credit, but they never showed that part to me.
Yeah.
I just saw the laundry list of credit cards. And so at going on 50 years old, my husband and I don't have any credit card debt. I finally got out of all that, and I just paid off a car for the first time in my life. I'm not going to have a car payment. And so I'm actually at a point in my life, and it's partially because of Beachbody. I have learned that this money game is not what life is all about, that life is much more than that. And I'm in a crossroad right now of literally almost wanting to quit my job and go home, put my back against the wall to build my business, because money means nothing at this point of the game. It means something, right? But does it really mean happiness? Does it mean fancy cars? Does it mean having all these trips and all this stuff? No, it doesn't. And so I'm in a transition for that, and I totally get where you're coming from, because it's totally invigorating to be able to say, oh my God, I don't have a car payment for the first time since I was 16 years old.
You know, Connie, I absolutely adore you, and I feel so connected to you because, you know, this is very much a part of my own narrative. Like part of my story, when I worked in corporate, I was making close to 6 figures. I was a television producer at CBS News. So I had, you know, lots of exciting stories for friends about all of the famous people I got to interview and blah, blah, blah. And I was miserable and I was broke. Like I had no freedom time-wise or financially. And I just realized, like, money is not the point. And actually, it was incredibly powerful, because the minute I was able to step away from the drive to make money was when I actually made money, because money is a byproduct. It's not the thing that you chase. The thing that you chase is helping people. The thing that you chase is making a difference in the world. The thing that you chase is to actually grow a tribe and coach a bunch of people on teaching them how to help themselves. That's what you're going after. The money is just a byproduct of what happens when you show up in the world with your purpose. And it's become a very big, strong, and I love that Connie's saying this, because it's become a very strong foundation of what I teach and the programs I run. Because if you're showing up to make money all of the time, you're going to break down and you're going to run your tank to empty, and you're never going to make the money. So,
Right.
yeah, so Connie, I applaud this. I think it's amazing. And what I will tell you is that just feeling that push and that drive to, like, create something beautiful, you're at wherever it goes from here, you're at the start of an amazing transformation within yourself, because I'm telling you, running a business changes you for the better. So much opens up. And if you're hearing the whispers and you're hearing the call to do something great, you guys listen to it. Go make it happen. What I want to leave you guys with is understanding the money that you guys put down on this list. Like, you should write it on an index card and put it on your wall, and you should read it every day. And also, you should know your reason why. So anytime you have a reason why, you need to have a pain reason why. Like, what's the reason to get out of pain? And what's the reason to create more pleasure? So you have to be driven by both of those things. One is not enough. It's not sustainable. So you need both. That makes sense?
Yep. I'm a very big believer in your why and having a strong why, because it's going to drive you to do what you want to do in your business. My coach has always been like that. If you don't have a strong why, then, you know, it's not going to drive you to go forward to what you need in your own business.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so take some time. The self-reflection is so important. Getting clear on your message. If you guys have questions about any of the stuff I talked about, you can certainly reach out to me. There's free shit on that website. I'm accessible on Facebook. Morgan, you can share my stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How you guys feeling?
Good. It was a good call. Anybody else have any more questions, or?
Thank you so much. I got a lot out of it. Thank you.
I'm so glad. It was a pleasure to be here. You ladies are all wonderful. Sending you so much love.
Thank you so much for being on the call. That was awesome.
Of course. Yeah, have an amazing week, you guys.
I want to take a quick selfie of all of us.
Sure.
Everyone smile that's here so we don't look like morons. I'm going to back up a little bit because I'm shiny. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Awesome.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you,
You're welcome.
Bonnie and Teresa, for being on here. Hopefully you got some good information and some good notes. We've only got one more day in the month, so use it to your advantage. And I will talk with all of you guys later. So good night, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.